Hello, my name is Bradley Bridge. I am our social media manager. I'm here today to give us a report to the entire board on our Buhi social media report for this last simulation and for this last year, and report overall of how I believe social media can continue to help Buhi meet its goals and continue to achieve its marketing objectives. I have a somewhat of a detailed report here and going into what I've been able to achieve in my few weeks here as a social media manager, as well as going into my future recommendations for this company. I wanted to simply start out with talking about the goals that have come from our chief marketing officer back when I originally was hired. That was to number one, to spend the $5,000 per week, just be aggressive in our budget. Number two, to grow brand awareness. Number three, to increase engagement throughout all social media platforms. And number four, to have a 10% increase of our previous sales from the previous year. And number five, simply outperform peers as we are simply in a competition against our fellow classmates. I believe that I was able to achieve these goals, and I'll go into several details here soon. As a social media manager, I was able to come up with several goals going into this campaign. Now, I would say right off the bat, not every single one of these goals was met. However, the overall goals from our chief marketing officer were met. I'm going to go into a little bit of those details here as well. The first goal I had was that each social media platform will strive for different goals. We want to be different. We want to be unique throughout all social media platforms. Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest will be the brand awareness and for sales. And that mostly stayed true. Twitter will be for assisting these platforms and for being a major focal point of customer relations. 25% of the budget will go to increasing brand awareness, while the other 75% will go for sales. And an effective strategy combined with an aggressive spending budget will meet the 10% increase in sales. I can definitely report that we did spend aggressively. I wanted to just briefly review our target audience. I know everyone here on the board is very, very familiar with who our target audience is, but just to do a quick recap, these are the people who we focused on as on the social media side, being able to target and kind of be able to interact with them. Number one, back to school Mindy. Number two, City Hopper Sue. 3, Up and Comer Raj. 4, Interactive Jill. 5, Seaside Sally. 6, Daypacker Tom. And 7, Hipster Mommy Cammy. All 6 of these people represent different individuals that, all 7 of these individuals represent different people and different interests. And being able to reach all of them, effectively interact with them throughout the simulation is interesting because we can only use the budget in so many ways. We have to pick and choose how best to interact with each of them. Now going over simulation findings. Throughout the simulation, we were able to gain a total revenue increase of Facebook of $47,000, Instagram $112,000, Pinterest $3,000, YouTube $1,000. Twitter and LinkedIn were, through market research on our own end, found not viable sources going forward to actually be able to use for our target audience. It simply put was not giving us enough interaction. They could both be used effectively to simply have a presence, but as far as continuing to produce revenue and producing sales, they were not very effective. So going into some other details on some findings, Instagram was by far the most successful. We strongly recommend, and I myself, as a social media manager, Instagram will be the main source of our ad budget. Facebook is also very, very consistent with Instagram, meaning no matter what kind of strategy we would try to apply, Facebook always seemed to have right around the same ROI. YouTube and Pinterest was actually very, very low. YouTube was much lower than Pinterest. Pinterest would build up depending on how much we'd continue to post on it organically. Pinterest is something organically that we're really going to have to build up. And it's probably going to be less so spending and more so just organic post. YouTube itself did not produce a very good ROI, and we're very skeptical about putting lots of our ad money into it into the future. Overall, one of our biggest findings that was kind of disappointing to us was how much of an influencers didn't seem to help out our branding. We tried a variety of different influencers and their strategies as far as going top notch as well as lower, and it didn't seem to produce anything as far as revenue or really help very much in brand awareness. This is something that we might be able to consider down the road, but for right now, we would strongly recommend not to do influencers. And as I mentioned earlier, Twitter and LinkedIn, as far as ad revenue and as revenue for total sales, are not simply worth it at this time for our company. So going forward, going towards our recommended marketing plan. This is based off the information we have received from the simulation, based off my own findings and my own recommendations going forward for our Buhi marketing plan. We want to spend the bulk of our money on ad spending. And that's simply because our second principle here, the content is cheap and it works. What we found throughout this campaign is that content is very, very cheap. We don't need to spend tons and tons of money on producing and finding content. Even the lower end content almost has a very similar result to what we're able to find. We want to spend the bulk of that money continuing to hit hard with the ad spend. Let's get the most out of that money. A bulk of the ad spend should be sent on Instagram. Instagram works for every single one of our characters in our target audience, every single person, male or female, variety of interest. Instagram works as far as increasing revenue. Facebook, we found, does great for increasing our brand awareness and some of our other goals. It seemed to work better, the organic stuff on Facebook, than it did the paid advertising. I want to simply talk about a little bit about my conclusion real fast. I was able to complete the simulation. Might not have been everything on time. In fact, it definitely wasn't. I was able to complete our simulation. I finished 21st in our class. This is me here. I was able to produce $196,487 for our company. Now, the plans that I've suggested today, I not only know will help us in the future, but will also help us continue to take our brand and be able to continue to increase in our market share, as well as increasing sales over time. Thank you so much.